Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's June 23rd, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see we've got this ridge out here across the Pacific Ocean, and it's going to start to bring some clouds into the region here, kind of a dirty ridge moving in here, and dirty ridge just means there's some cloud associated with it, and we're on the kind of the northern fringe of that high pressure system out over the Pacific Ocean there. So we're going to be dealing with this onshore flow and some troughing as we go through this week, but we are going to bounce temperatures back a little bit here from where we were with the chilly upper level low that was across the area. And we'll take a look at the extended forecast. Some interesting stuff also starting to show up as we go on into the early portion of July. So you're going to want to wait and watch that here as we go through that in the second half of the video. First of all, taking a look at lightning strikes over the last 24 hours across northern Washington, northeast Washington, a lot of them across British Columbia, and a few across Oregon, Idaho as well. And just a reminder, if you're out and about in the higher country there or lakes, for example, I mean, when these thunderstorms form, they all have the potential for gusty winds and rapidly changing conditions. We had a fatal drowning incident there for Lake Tahoe on a thunderstorm that just formed very close to the lake there and kicked some very strong winds across the region. Was not very well forecast. That was a few days ago. You can Google that and check out that story. But just a reminder here for people off in the backcountry. I mean, I know a lot of people know this stuff, but just a reminder here. If you're off recreation across some of the lakes and whatnot, watch out when those clouds start to build, even when thunderstorms were not forecast. So taking a look here, I picked one near Omak there, and look at all the lightning strikes that occurred in this Tempest weather station during the day yesterday, June 22nd. Quite a few lightning strikes out there, and you can see the station tells you just how far those strikes are away from the station. So very fun weather station. You see the UV index already hitting the station here this morning, tells you the solar radiation. You can see the wind updating as we speak, lightning when it was last detected, the temperature out there as well, and it is not currently raining, and they had 600ths of an inch yesterday. So highly recommend this station. Click on the link down below to save 10% off. Very fun to keep you alert as to what is to come, because this also will show you some of the actual forecast. It builds a forecast for your location as well. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. You can kind of see that, how it's built this forecast there as well. It just might help you if you're going off in the backcountry or going off about your day and whatnot, and thunderstorm activity or winds or whatnot. It'll tell you about that here. So again, you can kind of see all the stuff it does. But now, anyway, looking at Portland, you can see the 57 degree we had day on the 21st. That was the all-time record low high temperature for the day, and yesterday bounced back 13 degrees. We're going to bounce those temperatures back a little bit more over the next few days here as well. So Portland recovering, as is much of the Pacific Northwest. Now day one, thunderstorm outlook: Idaho Panhandle, northeast Washington, Montana, British Columbia. Yet again, nothing for Seattle, Portland, or southwest BC is scheduled just yet. Day two, and you can see it just clip northeast Washington. Fire danger, nothing to worry about right now for the most part, at least not elevated conditions. You always want to, you don't want to be throwing cigarette butts out the window or things like that, or dragging chains and parking on dry grass and things like that. But right now, no elevated fire conditions for the next couple of days. Now, taking a look at the 500 millibar heights on the European model here. So if we put this into motion, you're going to see what I called the dirty ridge here earlier, and that's going to be with us here. And then it turns into a bit of some troughing, some onshore flows we go through this week. It's going to allow us not to warm up too much here as we go through this week. But as we go towards the end of the week, you can kind of see the ridge starting to build in a bit as we go towards this weekend, which will allow us to warm up a little bit there. And then we've got this next trough out here, and that's what you're going to want to watch here in the extended forecast. It's coming up here in a moment. But in the meantime, let's take a look at lightning flash density potential today. And again, Canada, Oregon, Canada-Washington border. Nothing for Oregon scheduled today. But you can see there is some of that across some of the higher terrain of British Columbia as well. And then as we go on in through Tuesday, you'll see some of this kick up. Maybe a little bit of instability, enough to kick off a thunderstorm across some of southwest BC especially. We'll revisit this again tomorrow and across some of the Rocky Mountains of BC off towards Alberta as we go through the day on Tuesday. And then we've got a system moving in on Wednesday that we're going to look at starting right now. So taking a look here, we're pushing through today. We're on into tomorrow. You can see western BC, some of Vancouver Island getting a little bit of light precipitation here as we go on in through the day Tuesday. Again, the scattered thunderstorm activity there across some of the higher terrain of British Columbia, Washington border. Then we go through Wednesday. You see a little bit of light rain for Seattle, some of western Washington here. Won't amount to much, but it's going to keep the clouds around, keep temperatures suppressed a bit. And then we go through Thursday, still some showers around. The onshore flow will be with us. And then we start to dry out here as we go towards the weekend. We start to build the ridge of high pressure as we go towards Saturday night, shown here. Now, 24-hour running precipitation total, it's not much to look at, but you can see about 300ths of an inch there on the day, Wednesday for Seattle, maybe a couple hundreds. This is just barely enough to wet the ground, really, relatively speaking there. And then we go on into Thursday. Again, some showers around the area there, and then we go on towards the weekend where we start to dry out. Now, looking at today, daily 2-meter max temperature, Monday, June 23rd, Seattle, look at that, mid-70s out there, southwest BC, maybe up towards mid-70s, some 80s showing up. Of course, cooler along the immediate water, and then some 80s east of the mountains. Take a look at tomorrow, warm up even a bit more. Then we go to Wednesday and we start to kick that trough through here, the week trough. We start to bring those temperatures down a bit, 70 for Seattle on Wednesday. Then we go through Thursday, again, still with the onshore flow, keeping temperature suppressed a bit here across the area, 68 for Seattle. And then we go to Friday, Saturday, look at that, starting to warm back up. And Sunday, look at Seattle hitting 80 degrees there, some mid and upper 80s for the Willamette Valley, down to southwest Oregon, some mid 90s out there for eastern portions there. Look at Boise at 95. And then we go through Monday. Look at some 100-degree readings maybe for the Tri-Cities, Boise, Seattle. Another fairly warm day for Monday as well. Then we'll see what is to come after that. Now, taking a look here at the extended forecast. So things look a little bit interesting here, but we're going to compare and see what the weather models say and what kind of confidence we have. So there's the European artificial intelligence on the left versus the good old-fashioned regular deterministic European model there. So let's scroll through here. We're going through the week. You can see the onshore flow kicking through here. The trough is not exceptionally strong. We build the ridge for the weekend. You can see it on both artificial intelligence and the deterministic run on the right. We start to scroll off into the future, and if you're starting to see this color out there catching your eye on the artificial intelligence, that is kind of an interesting look there. That would be a very fun system here if you like thunderstorm activity. Western Oregon, Western Washington, maybe up into British Columbia, negatively tilted trough at this time of year and on into early July can be quite fun for active weather lovers. The deterministic has us a little bit further north, would not allow us to destabilize quite as much, but that could still be favorable for some storms, especially up across the Cascades, with the fluent southerly flow aloft out ahead of that trough. Now we scroll on in there and you can kind of see how this hangs out as we go through that following weekend. That's on the 4th of July right there. That's about 4th of July nighttime. That's when the fireworks would be going. So you can kind of see what kind of issues that would be causing. Probably some precipitation, maybe some thunderstorms, Mother Nature's own fireworks show for us potentially. But again, you can kind of see there is some differences here in the position of this trough and a little bit of the timing and how fast that is going to kick out. So let's take a look at what the GFS has to say with that. So here we go. Got the onshore flow troughing going on as we go on in through this week. We go through this weekend. Ridge starts to build here on the GFS. As you can clearly see, that's going to allow us to warm up for a few days. And then you can see the trough, the next one out there. Let's see what it does on the GFS. I have not looked at this one yet. It keeps it a little bit further north. It does drop it down here. So that would be kind of interesting as well. That's July 2nd. There we go, July 3rd. And then the 4th of July right there with that upper level low centered right across portions of Oregon, Washington, and the Pacific Northwest. So that would be kind of interesting. So we do have something to this. The GFS and the European artificial intelligence and the deterministic model do show this upper level low around in this time frame here. So it'll be something fun to watch over the next few days. Now, drought monitor here. This was updated last Thursday. We did get some upgrades here across western Washington, northern Cascades. We even introduced some severe drought across portions of Oregon. If you remember, a couple months ago, I believe it was, we had no drought apparent across Oregon. So yeah, we're kind of upgrading things a bit here as we go on into the summer. Hopefully we can, mitigate that and bring some precipitation back down into the region as we go. We'll see how that goes, of course, on a daily basis. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, above average signal is there all the way through July 2nd, and then the mixed bag here as we go through July 2nd as well. So anyway, yeah, fun stuff to watch in the extended forecast. We'll just go ahead and break that down. We'll see how strong that ridge is going to be as we go through this weekend and get a little bit closer to it. And we do have some showery weather here and a couple cool days. Look like Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to drop those temperatures back down, maybe a few showers across the region here as well. So anyway, click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.